Okay, so the recording has started. So thank you guys to this. Thank you for coming to this third session for the Dakar Bitcoin Days hackathon learning sessions. So today we talk about voltage. So in the first session we talked about what Bitcoin is. In the second session we saw what Lightning is. We saw that in both cases you need a node. So that node will allow you to integrate the network. So if you have a Bitcoin node, you can create some wallets, generate multiple addresses, send and receive Bitcoins, but also keep your Bitcoin yourself. With the Lightning node, you integrate the Lightning network, and we saw that you can create channels between you and other Lightning nodes, and you can make some really fast transaction at cost near to zero. You have multiple choices when it comes to have your node. You can have your node in your laptop, in your personal computer, in a Raspberry Pi, or you can use voltage. So voltage would be, I mean, Nate will talk about what voltage is, and I hope it is something you will learn a lot about. So I will just give some instruction in French, Nate, to the students. So, comme on a dit la dernière fois, lorsque vous avez des questions, posez-le dans le chat. Parce qu'on ne veut pas ouvrir les micros pour déranger la personne qui est en train de présenter. Donc, posez toutes vos questions dans le chat. J'ai vu que la dernière fois, plusieurs personnes avaient voulu prendre la parole. Donc, je suis désolé, je pense que ça, c'est la meilleure solution. Et aussi, Nate is in the Telegram group. So after this session, if you have further questions, you can go there. So I was just telling them to write question in the chat so you can read along and answer. So Nate, I will let you start. I will let you present yourself and start. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much for inviting me, first of all, and giving the opportunity to talk to so many folks interested in Bitcoin and the Lightning Network. What really gets me excited about this is that we are starting to realize that money and value can be transferred globally without borders, and that's what Bitcoin empowers. And the Lightning Network, empowers it in an even faster way. As you probably learned, the Bitcoin network it requires confirmations, right? Because blocks get mined every 10 minutes. With the Lightning Network, though, it's still Bitcoin. It's just instant settlement. So all the payments, if you receive it, there's no chargebacks, and that payment can go to anyone in the world for almost nothing. So this unlocks a whole new revolution in the way commerce is done in an internet native way, because the internet was always meant to transcend geographical borders, and now we have a money that also does that. So I'm really excited to talk about voltage a little bit. So we all know now that Bitcoin is powered by these decentralized nodes around the world, really. And so the Lightning Network is also powered by nodes. The Lightning Network nodes plug into the base layer Bitcoin nodes. It's very important because that is how the Lightning Network verifies that folks who say they have Bitcoin, that they actually have that Bitcoin. So when the Lightning Network first sort of came out a couple of years ago, gosh, 4 or 5 years ago, you have to download software, install it on your computer, figure out how it works, and start running it. So we realized that there needs to be a solution to run your own Lightning node, have full custody over your money, but not have to worry about being online or your power going out or anything like that. Because unlike regular Bitcoin nodes, the Lightning Network requires your node to be online. So voltage, like online for it to even work, if you have a Lightning channel with a peer that has their that goes offline, that's essentially not wasted, but like frozen, not even frozen, but paralyzed money. So at Voltage, we have a solution where folks can run Lightning nodes on our cloud servers, and those nodes are fully encrypted by a password that we do not save. So that is the only caveat with Voltage. We'll get into that here in a second. That if you lose your password, there you have to recover with your seed phrase, and feel free to just ask questions if anything doesn't make sense what I'm saying, or if I can elaborate on that. But I just wanted to preface that is the solution that Voltage presents, a very, very easy way to deploy Lightning nodes quickly, which I will demo here in a second, and then also be able to use it to build cool apps and stuff like that for anyone in the world. My headphones are dying, so give me 2 seconds here. Okay, we'll just take those off. So yeah, so let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen. If anyone has any questions, go ahead and ask them, but I'll be sharing my screen here in a second. And if, unfortunately, I am not the best at French, so if there's translation, I'd appreciate that. So here we go.
Yeah, no worry. I'm asking them to, so they can ask the question in French, so I can translate it.
Okay, awesome, great. Yeah, so I'm, instead of giving you guys like PowerPoint and stuff, I might jump to that, but I'd rather just give like a hands-on like how to do it. So you could follow along if you'd like to. So let me go ahead and share here. I'm just gonna share window. Okay, that looks good. So the website is voltage.cloud. And what you're going to do is click sign up and basically register. All you need is an email and password, because Voltage does not hold any money. We do not require to get your name or your address or anything like that. So anyone in the world can use Voltage just with an email and a password. So after you do that, I'm not going to make a new one, but after you do that, you can go ahead and log in. I'm going to log in under one of my profiles here. I'm probably going to be talking quite a bit because I'm going to give you guys like an overview of everything here, including the developer stuff. So it might be pretty quick. So I'll definitely be watching Telegram and stuff for questions. So after you log in, it's going to ask basically what you want to do. You could ignore Flow. Flow is for inbound liquidity on the Lightning Network. So I'm not sure how much I should talk about the basics of Lightning, or if I should just talk about Voltage in particular. I hope that we've had a little bit of experience with Lightning, but if not, please let me know and I can talk about anything that doesn't make sense. So we can go ahead and deploy a new node, basically. Actually, before that, so the billing, we charge per hour in a US dollar denomination, but you can pay in Bitcoin. So you can add $30 worth of Bitcoin or $10 worth of Bitcoin, and you can get your node. But the cool thing is, for every new account, you get $10 of free credit, 10 US dollars of free credit. So what that translates to is when you deploy a new node here, I'll make this a little bigger. It's about 1241 US per month. So you get almost a full month of a node for the initial sign up, which is pretty cool. So when you get to this option here, you will not want to use a Bitcoin Core node. Just pick Lightning node. All the Lightning nodes have access to Bitcoin base layer. This is only if you want to do actually specific Bitcoin base layer development of some kind. So you can ignore that and just pick Lightning. BTC Pay server is really neat. It's what you can use to do crowd funds or web stores, and you can connect that to your node also. So you can do online commerce. But so deploy a Lightning node, you'll see light node, standard node, and pro node. The difference between these is a light node is not backed by a full Bitcoin Core node. It gets its Bitcoin Core information from the Tor network directly. So it's less resource intensive on the voltage end, which makes it cheaper, but that also makes it as reliable as the Tor network is. And the Tor network can sometimes be unreliable. However, if you start with a light node and want to upgrade it to a standard node because you think it's a little bit too unreliable for your needs, then you can do that, no problem. Standard node is about $31.39 per month. And then the professional node is really enterprise grade. You get a ClearNet IP and a dedicated Bitcoin Core node. There's really no special reason to have that, but enterprise businesses that Voltage works with likes to have their own IP address. The other two are Tor only, which work fine. So after you pick what you'd like, it'll show you the network, mainnet or testnet. So testnet uses testnet Bitcoin, which you can get on faucets. You can search for Bitcoin testnet faucets, and then you paste in a testnet address, and then it sends testnet coins to. And then there's also a testnet Lightning network. The testnet Lightning network is not as robust as the actual Bitcoin Lightning network, though. So sometimes it can be sometimes payments can fail more often. All right. Let's see. Yeah. So after you decide what you want to do, you can hit create. And then this is the most important part. So you get to actually give your node a name. This name will be known to the rest of the Lightning network, and it will always be known to the network. So make sure you name it something that you actually want it to be for a long time, if you intend on using it for a long time. And then it'll say your password and your and confirm your password. It's important to note that this password is not the same password as your Voltage account. Your Voltage account password, when you signed up for Voltage, is something that we do save on our end, and we can change it if you lose it. But your node password is what we do not save. So make sure, if you're bad at remembering things, to write it down. So as it says, your node seed and macaroons are encrypted with this password. Losing this password means losing access to backups, and Voltage cannot reset it. So just want to emphasize, definitely remember your password. So I'm going to just create one real quick. You'll see restore existing node from seed and static channel backup. This is if you already had a node and you want to restore it. So if you 99.9% of the time, you'll leave that blank. And then again, it reminds you, did you write your password down? Click yes. And then it will be creating here. And the creation of a node usually takes three or 4 minutes. So we'll give that, and then, it tells you what your stage, but sometimes it goes quicker than 3 or 4 minutes, which is pretty cool. Correct. Yep. In this step, you give a name to your node, which is important because it is the way other nodes will connect to you. And there we go. Our node is created. That's simple. So it says enter the node's password to unlock. So you're going to want to do that. And then this is your primary dashboard. It'll show you what version of LND we're using, API endpoints, Voltage version. And if there's ever a new version of this, there'll be a button right here that clicks update. We do not do auto updates. It's very important that you think of your node as actually your node. It's just Voltage is just running the hardware that your node is on. So you still have to sort of take responsibility for it. So you do have to update it, but we make it easy. It'll just be a button right here. So definitely log in and make sure there's if there's any updates for you ever so often. Yeah, so API endpoint, this is how you can use other apps in the Lightning world to connect to. Node ID, this is internal for Voltage. This is how we register your node ID. We do not know how many, how much Bitcoin you have on it or anything. This is just how we stay organized. If you have a support issue, we might ask for your node ID so we can look into it. This macaroon and this certificate are permissions tokens, effectively, that for other apps can connect to your node. And then you have your seed phrase. Your seed phrase, I'm just going to click show because I'm not actually going to use this node. Your normal words, make sure you write this down the first time you get it. If you accidentally delete your node or something happens, this is how you will recover your funds. And then if you want to delete your node, that's here at the bottom. All right, just going to check questions here. See if there's anything. Okay, nothing yet. All right. So this is your main Voltage dashboard. I guess we'll go through the side here real quick, and then we'll start getting into some developer stuff. So logs, this is where you will see your logs. If there's ever any issues with your node that you're experiencing and you contact support, we will probably ask for you to download this and send it to us so we can look into it. All right, settings. This is where you can change the color of your node and just kind of cool stuff like that. Most of the defaults here work fine. If you have any questions about what any of these mean, you can always contact us on our Discord page, voltage.cloud/discord, or email us at support@voltage.cloud. But most of these defaults are good, but feel free to go through those and then ask us questions if you have any. Network, this is just going to show you your public key of your node and sort of what your setup is, how many payment channels you have, your peers, and that sort of thing. Right now it says sync to chain X and sync to graph X. Sync to chain means sync to the base Bitcoin layer. Because we chose the light node, Tor is going to be a little bit slower at setting up than if we chose standard. So right now in the logs, you would see that it's downloading chain data. It only needs to do that during the first setup phase, so don't be alarmed on that. After it is fully synced to the chain, then it'll start getting peers on the Lightning Network, and that's what synced to graph means. That means it is starting to get more information from the Lightning Network, which is important. Next down is connect. This is where you're going to get all of the raw values for remotely accessing your node through third-party services. And we have a bunch of ways to, so there's more ways or more third-party services that you can use to connect to your Voltage node, but we have a pretty robust list of some of the most popular ones over here. So if you're running balance of Satoshis or Lightning Terminal, you could just click that and it gives you the instructions of how to connect that to your Voltage node. Export is if you want to export data. You can do your logs, you can do your channel backups, or you can export your entire node if you'd like. So we give you full access to all of that. Okay, so the most important one here is dashboards. I'm going to see if we have any questions here. Let's see. With the API endpoint, can we build our own app, web, and mobile? Yes. Yep, exactly. And I'm going to show you how to do that here in a moment. I just want to show you how to open and close channels and get your node ready to receive payments. So we can go to dashboards, and then what we want to do right now is go to ThunderHub. And it's not going to work because we have an issue. Hang on. Oh, it locked. That was my fault. So sometimes that happens. You just got to click home and unlock it again. So ThunderHub instances take a couple minutes to load. The expire after 60 minutes of inactivity or 6 hours, whatever comes first. And ThunderHub is a open source Lightning Network management tool that we have incorporated directly into Voltage for easy management of your Lightning node. I encourage everyone to check out our docs at docs.voltage.cloud. We have really good ThunderHub quick start guides and voltage quick start guides on our docs page. So if I'm going too fast, those docs will help you out. So you can go to launch dashboard. It'll take you here. You click log in, and then you put in your node password, not your voltage password. And this is where you will be opening and closing channels. I don't want to spend too much time on going through this. Again, I really recommend going to the docs page on voltage.cloud. So I guess I'll just show you real quick. You can go to voltage.cloud, and up here you can see docs at the top. And then you can see our quick start guide, which is basically what we just went over, how to make your node and everything. But if we scroll down here, you'll see ThunderHub guides, and this will show you how to start it, how to open a channel, the basics of managing your channel, and a few other advanced concepts. Those are really handy. And so feel free to go to the docs page and check that out. There's a lot to learn, but we're definitely making it as easy as possible. Cool. So this is where you're going to send and receive payments and manage payments and that sort of thing. All right, so let's talk a little bit about development. So at Voltage, we have a full API specification. So instead of going through the Voltage dashboard and doing all of that, you can actually use API calls for your Voltage node. You can use this to script out if you want to run multiple nodes, if you want to see pretty much everything. With a bunch of API calls. They're all in here. Really, really easy to use. You can even create your own BTC Pay server from the API, which also has a gRPC stuff. So lots of options there. So that's at api-docs.voltage.cloud. Now, that's not going to give you the power to generate invoices in the apps that you're building or anything like that. There's actually a few ways to do that, though. Now, LND, which is what your voltage node will be using as an implementation, uses gRPC calls and these macaroon, which is like cookie permissions to talk to your node from third-party apps. That is a very robust and powerful way to build apps and services, and but it's also the most difficult. So what we have done at Voltage to make it a little bit easier to make apps is to use webhooks. And webhooks are a much easier way to get these to use the APIs. So you can see there's LN bits here, right under in dashboards under ThunderHub LN bits. LN bits is free with all voltage nodes. You can start that, and then this will give you pretty much the exact same functionality as the LND gRPC, but it will be in a webhook sort of way. So if you launch dashboard, you can put in your node password again. API calls right now are free. We might change that in the future, but they're free at the moment.
No, don't change that. You have a question before. You say if you can export your node, does it mean you can run the same node?
In theory, yes, but Voltage will take no responsibility or help you do that. If you choose to do that, you will be on your own, because we do not want the responsibility of there being some sort of a mistake that ruins your node completely. It's fairly difficult to migrate a node from one sort of hardware location to another hardware location. But you could try if you'd like. Okay, so back to this LN bits, which is really, really neat. All the API info is immediately on the right side, and you can actually create wallets from within your Lightning node. in here. So if you are running a Lightning node and you want to give somebody the power to own, not really own, but like allocate funds to somebody else, you can add a wallet in here. You can name it. So if I wanted to give my mom a wallet, basically, I can call it mom, and then I can click that, and then you can sort of request an invoice, that sort of thing, but it goes directly to quote unquote mom's wallet, which she would have to save this URL to be able to access. And it's important that you do not share these URLs with anybody that they're not supposed to see, or they would be able to access those funds. We're hoping in the future to be able to password protect this, but we do not develop LN bits. We just deploy it, and those who are making LN bits are aware that we want password protection on this, but right now we do not have it. However, these APIs for get wallet details, create an invoice, pay an invoice, these things are a lot easier to use than the LND gRPC calls. So I encourage experimentation with this. And what's also really, really cool is we have a demo of this. And I'll actually post this in the Google chat right now. If you want to see a demo of how this works, then we have a Replit page for this. And I'll put this in the Telegram also for you guys to check out. So you can get an idea of the code for this. So what you're seeing on that link is basically a web app where you can draw on it, sort of like a paint program, and then you pay, it's like a public painting. After you draw on it, a Lightning invoice will generate, and if you pay the Lightning invoice, then whatever you drew appears on the painting with everybody else. So that will give you sort of a basis for the so what you do is you go back to, hang on. So what you do is you would fork up here, and then you can call it whatever you want, and after you fork it, it'll give you access to the to all the backend code and stuff, so you can kind of see how it works. Right. So yeah, here's the files. The backend is in Python, and then there's a little bit of JavaScript and stuff like that on the front end. So yeah, so you feel free to check that out. Okay, so that's LN bits. Gosh, all right, we've covered a lot in 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. I think for these students, if you can just come back to the basis of the Lightning node, like if you go around creating channels, funding channels, because I think it's the most important thing also.
Yeah, so okay, so we'll talk a little bit more about how nodes and channels work then. All right, so because my late node here hasn't synced completely, I'm going to hop on a different node that I know is. So I'm going to go back to my node page. And I'm going to launch one of my other nodes here. Going to go to dashboards again. Going to create the dashboard. Yeah, I think I'll talk a little bit about liquidity also. Maybe it's good to do that first. I actually did, oh, here, I'll post a link to something for you guys. All right, so that is, I'm sorry?
Does Voltage include a marketplace for liquidity? Is this Flow?
Oh, so yeah, we can talk about Flow. That's a good idea.
Okay.
Go ahead and do that.
We're just trying to break even.
So let's go here. We'll click the little 4 squares. Whenever you want to go back to home base, you can click those 4 squares. So Flow is a voltage product that we have built to interact with a liquidity marketplace. And what this helps you do is the Lightning Network requires a node to have what's called inbound liquidity in order to receive payments. And inbound liquidity is essentially liquidity that you don't own, but you can receive. So if you open a channel to somebody else, you are giving them inbound liquidity, even though you own it. And honestly, I think maybe it's a good idea to I'm actually gonna go through one of my workshop slides to kind of explain this. Let's see here. Do you guys see this? Does this look good?
Yeah.
Okay. So ThunderHub, see this blue and green here? ThunderHub is going to see your channels are going to look like this. And your blue side is the side that you own, which is called outbound or local liquidity. And then the green is the side that your peer owns, which is your remote liquidity. So what Flow does is you essentially pay somebody to open a channel with you, to put simply. And that's important to receive. So you can go into Flow here, you can click new channel, and then you can write how much in Satoshis that you want. And so let's say I want 1 million sats. Self-channel balance is if you want any of this 1 million on your side of the channel. I'm going to say no. Node tier is, do you want just anybody on the network to open a channel with you, or do you want well-connected nodes to open up the channel with you? I always say I want well-connected nodes, so you want best to be your node tier. And then duration in blocks, so it's sort of a contract that you're asking for. So 2016 blocks is 2 weeks. So basically, whoever you're buying from, if they close the channel within 2 weeks, they will get punished by the auction service, meaning that they won't be able to sell for a time frame. So you can pick the duration here. The 2016 duration has the most volume on the order book. So if you want to get matched quickly, that's probably the best one to use. And then you can set how much you want to pay on an APR basis. So there's 4 weeks in a month. There's 2 weeks in half a month. So this is 24 months. So out of 20, it's there's 24 2 weeks in the year. So your APR is this percent divided by 24 is how much in fees that you would pay. So if I want to pay, so let's just say I'll put in an order for 15% APR, and then you could say, is this for a voltage node? So that's pretty cool, because then you just click that and then you just pick the node that you want to have the channel, and then you can hit get quote. And then it'll tell you, okay, so for 1 million sats of inbound liquidity, I'm going to have to pay 6,500 roughly Satoshis. And then you can hit create. And then it says waiting payment. So you can click pay, and then you can pay either on-chain or Lightning, and then you would get that inbound liquidity. So that's pretty much how Flow works. If you set the fee rate that you're willing to pay too low, then you might never get a match, but you can always cancel the order and you will get the fee that you paid back in Flow credit immediately. So you can always put up an order, cancel it, put it up again, cancel it. You're not going to lose any money by doing that. So that's essentially what Flow is for. Any questions on that? Yeah. Okay. Great question. So it's possible to get inbound liquidity from a market like Amboss and link it, transfer it to our voltage node. Yeah. So a lot of folks, they use Flow and they use Amboss Magma. You can use both if you'd like, or you could ignore Flow and just use Magma. That's fine too. But all of that works with voltage. Yep. Magma is a really, really awesome spot to also get inbound liquidity if you need to. It's arguably a lot easier too, because you can actually see who is opening up the channel to you. So if I want that 1 million channel, I could just go in here and click 1 ML, get offer, and then it just tells you how much it is. So it's like, all right, $1.82, and then you could just go in and buy it. So Magma is great also. A lot of folks have switched to Magma from Flow, and I don't blame them. I think Magma is amazing. So yeah, and as your Lightning node sort of go ahead.
And finally, these students that are listening to you, they will do an hackathon. So they will try to build some products. What advice can you give them when using voltage? They want to build their products.
Yeah, so the best advice I have is to definitely go to that Replit page so you can see what the code looks like when you connect LN bits. I recommend using LN bits for your first project. It's the webhooks and stuff are just so much easier than anything else. So with that, you can use web apps. You could develop pretty much anything. You can develop anything that will generate a Lightning invoice that somebody pays that unlocks some part of the service. So it can be a game, it could be an artistic thing like our Satoshi's Place clone, which is what that Replit is, or it could be article or music unlocking, right? Like pay per play sort of thing, which is pretty interesting. All those sort of apps you can use. What I'm trying to help with, I guess, with the bulk of this is that your node does need that inbound liquidity for if you were to really test it in the wild to actually receive those payments. But to go back, for developers specifically, the best thing to check out is there's LNbits is here. So legend.lnbits.com. You can then go to the GitHub page on there, and there's lots of guides. There's a YouTube page to show you how to develop with that, and yeah, I just really recommend using LNbits. It's really, really easy. This is where people use, like they've built Lightning ATMs and all kinds of really cool stuff using LNbits. So that's why we incorporated it into the Voltage system, is because it is the best, easiest way for folks to develop apps using Lightning. But you guys gotta play with it and stuff. And if you hit any roadblocks or have any issues, please, I'll be on the Telegram, or you can come to the Voltage Discord group as well.
Yeah. One last question before we close this session is, what are the advantages of using Voltage instead of instead of your own Lightning node?
Yeah, so it's about trade-offs, really. If you have an internet connection that is not very good, then running a Lightning node is really, really hard. If you have your Lightning node as a primary part of a business, for example, you don't want that Lightning node to go offline when somebody's trying to pay you. So Voltage will give you that accessibility. But at the end of the day, you are trusting Voltage to continue to operate and run that node also. So where we are not custodial, like we do not hold your funds because everything's encrypted, we are also not trustless. So it's important to keep that in mind. You're still trusting a service, so you have to weigh those trade-offs. But we try to make it as easy as possible to build, right? We're here for the builders. We're builders ourselves. So we want to help empower that. And yeah, so that's pretty much the biggest trade-off there. Another one would be if you're running your Lightning node at home, you're likely going to learn a lot more about how Lightning works under the hood, which could be beneficial also. I actually really encourage, if you can run Lightning at home, to do it, because it's actually really fun. But just for building apps and stuff, Voltage is really easy to use. So you could focus on working on your actual project rather than having to fiddle with Lightning node configurations and dependencies and all of that stuff. So definitely, those are the trade-offs, though. And you get full support with Voltage also, so that's nice.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thanks a lot, Nate, for this session. So, guys, I hope you learn a lot. I hope you will follow his advice. So, run the node, try it before the hackathon, and if you manage to learn a lot of things the day of the hackathon, you can use Voltage for the quickness. So, I mean, it's up to you. So, thanks a lot, Nate. Nate is on the Telegram group, so if you have questions, you can ask him there.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting me. I just
Yeah.
want to say one last thing.
Yeah.
If you have a Lightning node, but you have no channels at all, invoices will still generate. So don't even worry about opening up a channel stuff. Build your project, see if it actually works with the generating of invoices, and then we can open up channels to get those invoices to work. So don't stress about the channel part of it. I would recommend.
Okay, that's a fair point. So
All
thanks
right.
a lot.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot, man. Bye bye. I will close the call in like 10 seconds.
Thank you.